Now, last week, we'll move into a little different territory here. Last week it came out that, former Eagles quarterback, the greatest quarterback in Eagles history, borderline Hall of Famer. It's definitely a debate in and of itself, but it came out that Donovan McNabb was served a misdemeanor DUI arrest, a one-day sentence, I believe in January it was, and a DUI, and somehow it never came out until just recently, just last week. And this happened down in Arizona. It was released Thursday morning. I've had other high-profile athletes who have been incarcerated with no problems, and this latest athlete follows that same pattern. Maricopa County Sheriff Joe Arpaio said, apparently McNabb was arrested December 15th on the Salt River Prima Maricopa Indian community east of Phoenix, according to court records. And you got on ESPN here. You got the mugshot of Donovan McNabb, and it's I don't know how this only is coming out now, but it's quite ironic to me. I mean, that Donovan McNabb was caught here, with a DUI, and it's also quite ironic how last week I was talking on my show about how there's this texting, or somebody talking on the phone while they were driving, and almost hitting me on the road, essentially, not seeing me. And I also said how it's bad enough that we got people driving under the influence out there, and then here, only hours later, this story comes out that Donovan McNabb apparently had a DUI charge, and somehow it didn't come out until recently. And it says McNabb pleaded guilty on March 27th, and 9 days of his sentence was suspended. So I don't know, but yeah, the mugshot was released last Thursday morning, and that started a media frenzy about this arrest. Which again had not previously been reported, and somehow I don't know how it was not reported, but nevertheless, I mean, Don McNabb served a DUI, and it's definitely had a lot of people joking. Certainly, I mean, I've been as I say a lot of I listen to a lot of sports radio in my spare time, and the jokes with Donovan McNabb are just have been floating all over the place. That kind of relate to his past tenure with Philadelphia, with the Eagles, and of course we had earlier in this past season, the NFL season, the first home game with the Eagles, when Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs came into town. They had the Donovan McNabb jersey retirement ceremony, and he was he kind of famously said this.
Number 5 will always love you.
And it's definitely it's things like this that kind of sparked some jokes with this whole DUI thing, and we'll spread a couple of them throughout the show. But people have said they see his arrest number, and before we hit to the break here, and I heard somebody joke that when Donovan McNabb got pulled over for the DUI, what did he say, and etc. And there's been all kinds of jokes like that floating out there around on other sports radio stations. But one of them, they kind of took this Donovan McNabb retirement ceremony speech. They took that part, number 5, and they took his arrest number. Arizona's arrest number 9275. Will always love you, and stuff like that. So I mean, there's all kinds of jokes been floating around, and with this Donovan McNabb DUI arrest.